Hey guys, Clumsy here. Welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator and welcome back to OnAir. My goodness, it's been a while, huh? Yeah, we are back in OnAir because we have been active. We have a couple of very hardworking managers who have been creating FBOs for our virtual airlines. And I'll tell you guys more about that in a bit as we get on the air. But for now, let's admire a bit this view. The Just Flight Arrow 3 has been released now to the public. I'm sure some of you guys have purchased it. Let me know in the comments how you like it, how you don't like it, what you've been doing, and where you've been flying with it. For now, let's go and remove the chocks and the tie downs. We have the warnings now, priming required. That's cool. So we actually need to prime the engine first, which makes a lot of sense. Let's open that one. 26 degrees Celsius outside. We are currently in Hawaii, by the way. Very different vibe. Because, well, I'll show you what the guys have been up to. In addition to expanding our network in the US, in Europe, well, now, part of that is Hawaii as well. And you can see all these airports, all these 7 airports that we all have FBOs there. And we all have jobs there that go to each of these legs. So that's going to be the plan here in OnAir. Exploring it a bit more in detail. Starting off in Hilo International, where we are. Pretty cool stuff. Now the weather right now here in Hilo, in reality, not the best. Very, well, minimal visibility, lots of rain. So I decided to go with a bit more custom one. The winds are still mostly the same. But I removed the rain for better sightseeing purposes, right? Right, prop RPM to full, throttle 1/4 forward. Let's turn on the fuel pump here. Increase that mixture, fuel pressure, fuel flow coming up. The priming required warning disappearing, so that looks good already. Fuel pump is going off and now we can start the engine. Ear prop. I doubt anyone heard me outside with that kind of very soft voice, but they get the point. Let's turn on our nav lights here, alternator on, so that our batteries will start charging up. Some night lighting as well, panel lighting rather. And let's turn on our super classic avionics. I love fiddling with these because the buttons, the knobs, they all have such amazing sounds and it's super immersive. So I try to do that as much as I can. Not that one, turn that on from here. There you go. And let's tune in the VOR where we're going to. So we're starting off in Hilo and we're going to, what airport is that? Mauna Kea? Kona, Onizuka, Kona International, all over to the west. I'll share with you that one in a bit more detail later. 112.1 is the VOR. Yeah, I think we're still too far away. Not able to track it yet. That's okay, that will adjust later. Flaps 1 notch for takeoff. Now this will be a very heavy load today, guys, because we have an on-air job. We actually have work today. So if you look at that's the wind that I set, very close to how it is right now here in Hilo. If you look at the payload, it's almost a full plane. Goodness. Lots of cargo, 690 pounds of cargo plus us is almost a full load. So expect a bit of reduced performance in here, but that's okay. We'll make it work, okay? Anyway, let's get going. Parking brake going off. Now, one question I wanted to pose to you guys. Are you okay with having like the run-up procedures? Because I've gotten some requests or some comments, some questions why I don't do the run-up. So maybe let's do that here and let's see if you guys enjoy it, okay? Let's keep the window open just for the better sounds. And I think when you do the run-up, you kind of like face the wind, right? Something like that. Facing toward the wind. Parking brake on. Right, let's increase the RPM here to around 2000 RPMs. I love how the plane tries to break away. You can see it shaking, wants to go free. Propeller RPMs going down, RPMs going back up. Good. And now let's do the magneto test. So keeping it at 2000 RPM. Left magneto, we see a drop in the RPM. Back to both, goes up. Right magneto, drop in RPM. I think the most you expect there is around 100 RPM. Go back to both, and that is looking good. So yes, let me know if you're okay with having those checks included in our flights. That will make it a bit longer in the startup sequence, but some people like the immersion that brings, so you guys let me know if you want to continue with that, okay? So runway looks clear. We have another guy there flying the CJ4 looks like, but he's 34,000 feet up in the air, so nowhere near us at all. So runway is clear here. So expect a bit more, well, less performance because we are pretty heavy right now. Also, let's take some time to appreciate the scenery. This is a custom airport. It's free though. I found it in FlightSim.2. JP, I think, is the author. He made a Hilo International Airport custom one. This is what we're seeing right now. That always is included in the mods list. Link in the video description. Landing lights on, fuel pump is on before you forget. Pitot heat, I don't think we'll need it with the temperatures. Look how slow we're climbing here. There we go. Up. Oh, heavy. Super heavy plane. There we go. Trim up. Wow, you really feel the weight. Good. Tap the brakes. Gear up. You can even feel it from my voice, huh? Good. Alright, that's looking good. That's looking good. Let's pitch for 90 knots. That would be a nice rate of climb. But my goodness, we're really struggling here. As heavy as a plane can get. I am loving the feeling though. When I've been testing this out before the public release, you might have watched a couple of videos. Forgot to turn on my strobes. No one. Don't tell anyone. So when I was testing this out, flaps can go up now. I've always been testing with just me as the passenger, so the payload was not significant. So it's always easy to take off, easy to climb, but now with a full payload, my goodness, you really feel the weight, and that just says great things about the flight dynamics, the modeling of this plane. There we go, 90 knots pitching. Let's look outside. Beautiful Hilo International. I think this also serves as like an air base now. Military air base, I'm not so sure. Yeah, lots of nice details. Some planes parked there. There's even some ships there. So feel free to check it out. Mods list link in the video description for the custom free Hilo airport. Good. 1,000 feet. I'll keep the landing lights on just so OnAir won't penalize us, but I can turn off the fuel pump now at least. Yeah. And let's continue climbing to around 2,500 just to be a little bit safer on away from the ground here. Right, let me pull back on the mixture a bit. Interesting though how cold that's getting. 1 second, huh? It's actually pretty cold on the EGT. It's something different. Maybe that's actually been fixed. The EGT seems cooler. I'm looking at this one. Let me close that. The EGT. Yeah, I think from what I remember from the release build, from before the release, the EGT was actually way here in the almost maximum. So this is actually probably more accurate, huh? That's nice. So let's redeem the mixture here. You'll see the EGT changing, rising up. That's the peak. That's the lean of peak. Let's keep that reach of peak until we get to the altitude that we want. Something like that. Let's keep it climbing, 90 knots. Pitch for 90 knots, and that would be the optimal rate of climb for us. Let's get some lighting in here. Want some red lighting? Not that we need it, but it's a nice subtle glow. Why not? And let me turn off that tablet so we get the most realistic, immersive, classic looking vibe from the interior here. 2,000 feet. Continuing our climb. Oh, and by the way, we actually have Bushtalk Radio here. I'm logged in. I have my browser open. So I'm really looking forward to checking that out, the different landmarks. Oh, and you can see we actually captured the VOR already in the airport we're going to. Ellison Onizuka. Papa Hotel Kilo Oscar is the IKO code. So you can see we are 55.7 miles away from that VOR. We're actually not heading towards there yet. We are sightseeing a bit. Let me move the OBS here so that we know exactly how to go to that VOR, how to go to the airport we're planning to go to. There you go. So if we head on a 269, 265 heading, if we track that one, then that should get us directly to the airport, our destination. But for now, let's climb. Yeah, let's descend a bit here. 2,500 I think is enough. That looks good. But it's nice to see. It looks like there were some last minute improvements on the plane, even though it looked very great already in the testing branch, the press copy that I had. So now I actually bought this as well. When this got publicly released, I also bought it myself. I bought the public version even if I had the earlier press copy already, because I really wanted to support the developers. I wanted to support this kind of hard work, you know. Adding in this much detail improves everyone's lives in the simulator world in FS 2020. We need more planes like these. There we go. Okay, good. So going back to around 22, 23 inches of manifold pressure. From RPM, going down to around 2200. I'm getting a bit laggy in this area. Wonder why. Anyway, hang tight, guys. Let's trim the plane. Trimming this plane is so easy. As long as the weather holds, that is. It's very friendly. And let's lean the mixture. There's the peak. There's the lean of peak. Awesome. Good. So that should give us a very nice economical flight. 2,500 trimmed. I can let go of the yoke. And with the winds being very calm, no gusts. Actually don't have to touch the yoke much at all. Cool. Alright, so I wanted to head on a southwesterly direction here because there is a landmark that I wanted to check. Bushtalk Radio should have some views for us. One sec. Let's also look at the GPS here. We can improve the lighting. There you go. So once we get level here, like so, let's get out, self-test. No, that's okay. 3D nav, route. Is that not plugged in? Yeah, this one I still am not familiar how to navigate this, I think. I can't find much purpose in it. Thankfully, I have little nav map on my other screen, so we're not totally blind. I have little nav map on the left side. On my left monitor, I have Bushtalk Radio on the right, so we should be okay, I think. Now, there should be an airport right below us. Airport might be pushing it because I think that's the one. Looks cool though, huh? Looks cool. Oh no, that's the one. No, that's the road. I think the road would be an easier parking than that guy. Huh. No. Maybe I'm looking at it wrong. Let's see. It's actually here on the right. Well, I can't see it. Let me guys know if you can. But that's not where we're going, so it's fine. You know what? Let me turn off the landing lights. I'm confident enough, and then later on air will penalize me. Please no. So yes, I'll continue this direction, and I'll bring you guys back when the landmark is coming up. I hope it's good. I might have to climb here though, because it looks like the ground is slowly but surely climbing up as well. Might meet those volcanoes, and if you know me, I might have had a bad history with flying into volcanoes in the past. If you've been here since the start of my flight sim journey in 2019, yeah, we've had a couple of brushes with the volcanoes. In where was that? Was it Fuerteventura? No, but near that area. Yes. Anyway, yes, I'll bring you guys back in a bit. Welcome back, guys. Quite close to, I think, the landmark that I'm looking for, although I don't see any volcanoes in the vicinity except maybe that guy right there. That might actually be, how do you pronounce it? Mauna Loa? But yes, let's wait for it. It will play in a bit. So we are getting close to the Bushtalk Radio kind of audio tour. Bushtalkradio.com, and it's also in the mods list if you guys want to try this out. Super cool stuff. Really love it. It's great for guys like me who know nothing about the place and love to just explore and go different places. You might notice though, the plane is hard at work because the ground has been creeping up bit by bit. It's very sneaky actually. So I've had to climb RPM at 2500, full throttle here. There we go. That should be playing.
Hawaii Volcanoes National Park is an American national park located in the U.S. state of Hawaii on the island of Hawaii. The park encompasses 2 active volcanoes, Kilauea, one of the world's most active volcanoes, and Mauna Loa, the world's most massive shield volcano. The park provides scientists with insight into the development of the Hawaiian Islands and access for studies of volcanism. For visitors, the park offers dramatic volcanic landscapes, glimpses of rare flora and fauna, and a view into the traditional Hawaiian culture connected to these landscapes. The park was originally established on August 1, 1916 as Hawaii National Park, which was then split into this park and Haleakala National Park. In recognition of its outstanding natural values, Hawaii Volcanoes National Park was designated as an International Biosphere Reserve in 1980 and a World Heritage Site in 1987. On May 11, 2018, the park was closed to the public in the Kilauea Volcano Summit area, including the visitor center and park headquarters, due to explosions and toxic ash clouds from Helima Umayu, as well as earthquakes and road damage. Portions of the park, including the visitor center, reopened to the public on September 22, 2018. As of 2020, most of the park is open. However, some road segments and trails as well as the Jaga Museum of the Hawaiian Volcano Observatory remain closed to visitors. Eruptive activity, ground collapses and explosions in the park ceased in early August of 2018, and the lull in eruptive activity at Kilauea continued until an eruption on December 20, 2020, at the Helima Umayu crater.
Goodness, wow. Yeah, so these are very active volcanoes. Must be very tricky planning trips to here, because at any point you could have your trip, off track based on the activities. Mauna Loa and Did you get it? We'll have a quiz later at the end of the episode, so take notes. Oh, that's cool. Look at this. Actually getting changing landscapes now. Beautiful views here, guys. Beautiful, varied views. Actually feels like we're on the moon here. The kind of craters you're seeing. Wow. I actually want to climb through there. I'm not sure if my plane can handle it given our massive payload at the moment. Yeah, and there are lots of other landmarks here in the area. If we continue climbing, 1 second, we just bank a little here. I'll show you. If I show you a little nav map, that's where we've been going. We've been heading southwest from Hilo. And yeah, you see here Mauna Loa, that's the one volcano. Here, Kaola, yeah. Oh my goodness. And we have Mauna Kea here. We even have an observatory, I think, in this area. Something like that. But it's pretty high up. I think it's around 13,000, 14,000 feet up. Might not be able to reach that. So we'll see what we can. We'll try and enjoy whatever we can given the limitations of our plane. But I mean, my goodness, this view, right? So much variety in here. And yeah, this is what we get with this recent FBO expansion. So I'd like to take this time to thank my patrons and my virtual airline managers. These guys are one and the same. My patrons are the managers in our VA. They've done a fantastic job in expanding our networks in the US, including now Hawaii. We've also had expansions into London. I think we have our Heathrow FBO now. And yeah, this flight is thanks to them because they've set this up. I think I showed it already, but let me show it to nav map again. Yeah, this entire network of FBOs you see, 7 airports in Hawaii. This is all thanks to them. They've set it up. They've made it compatible with this, with my Piper Arrow. And so now I can take jobs. I can do my little bit of share. It won't really make a dent financially, but they welcome it nonetheless because that's how we are in the Clumsy Airlines VA. It's not about the money, guys. It's about the camaraderie, the enjoyment. You know, we're not racing to be the richest. We're not racing for anything, basically. We're just enjoying our time together. So if you have an OnAir account, go and you can make a profile in the Thunder world. That's where we are. That's where VAs are. You are more than welcome to join the Clumsy Virtual Airlines, the Clumsy Airlines VA. We'll be happy to have you there. Increase the population. And yeah, no requirements, no minimum number of hours. Even if you crash, it's fine. As long as don't take money from us. No, but yeah, it's a very light-hearted kind of VA. We don't really aim to be the best at anything. We just want to aim. Our aim is to be happy and contribute towards a same goal together. You know, that's something that OnAir has that I don't think other economy apps have. You guys know I'm very fond of Sky Park and I still fly that. I love the job generation there. I love the randomness of it, and I love the lack of restrictions, so you can really fly anywhere you want. 6,000 feet, I think. And let's continue climbing to 6,500. Let me lean the mixture here. There you go. Get the peak. Go a bit rich of it. Rich of peak for a better climb. So you know how much I enjoy Sky Park, and I still enjoy it. But in terms of community flying, you know, flying as part of a group, the OnAir VA is really my go-to spot. And thanks to my managers, thanks to the members in the VA, I'm really enjoying my time there. So we spend our time in Discord. We hang out, we share ideas, we create these FBOs, we buy planes and whatnot. So it's a full-blown management system. Not everyone might like that, but you won't need to because we have our own managers. So if Sky Park has Bridget, OnAir has Downtown, has Bunky, has Gunny, has Perfect. So all the patrons, the VA managers that we have, these guys are doing great work. Sorry if I missed anyone, but you guys know who you are. Yeah, so now, how the heck are we going to go around this island when this volcano, I guess that's what it means when it says shield volcano, huh? Because it did say something along those lines. the world's most massive shield volcano. Well, it's definitely shielding me from going to the other side. And I don't think I can climb that high to go to the other area, so it looks like we'll have to go around the island. Keep this altitude. Yeah, 6,500. Let's keep it here. Steady on the RPM. 2200 for a steady cruise. And lean the mixture. You can see the EGT rising, EGT falling. Okay, we are now in lean of peak. Good. So I'll keep on this. Wish me luck. We do have enough fuel. Everything is in the green. Fuel pressure, oil temperature, oil pressure, altimeter amps, alternator amps rather. All good, and we have tuned into the VOR for our destination. So we are 41 miles away. We're headed the wrong way though, but we make do with what we have, okay? So anyway, I'll catch you guys in a bit. Wish me luck. And I'll see you. Oh man, I'm getting nervous. Okay, 1 second. I'll be back soon. Oh my goodness, that looks gorgeous. Wow. Status update, guys. We are nearing the southern end of this island. I think this is the big island, what they call it, right, in Hawaii. And yes, shield volcano it is. I actually googled it. What is a shield volcano? It's a broad domed volcano with gently sloping sides, characteristic of the eruption of fluid basaltic lava. But yes, exactly what we're seeing right here. Gently sloping indeed, because it's almost flat if you look at that slope. But it's basically preventing us from crossing to that other side of the island until now. Now we can see here starting to drop off, although we are getting into the clouds here a bit, so I'll have to either avoid it or try and go below it probably. But yes, the views have been phenomenal all throughout, so I'm enjoying it. I love also how the lighting is. With the clouds, the lighting is different, right? You see the shadows that the clouds are dropping down on the ground there, and you see some areas with the gaps from the clouds and you see them well lit up. It just makes everything look so amazing. Although this one might not be the best place to be in. Probably not legal, but I won't tell if you won't, okay? But something that you might notice in these videos, oftentimes I try to follow realism as much as possible, but a quick rule of thumb is I don't let it get in the way of having fun. So sometimes I will probably not go through the standard procedures 100%, you know. I'll probably not be as realistic as possible sometimes, but the goal is, regardless, we will play with that level of simulation, we will play that with that level of realism to get the most fun, the most enjoyment out of the experience. Yeah, so the overall experience is the first, the enjoyment, and then the realism is secondary. The realism is a tool to enjoy what we have and not the other way around. Just to, because there might be some people who are complaining, oh, you're not following this, you're not following that. And yeah, that's true. But that is all by design, guys. It's a feature, not a bug. Anyway, here we are finally starting to loop around the edge of the island. You can see we still have the VOR here, 44 miles. So going direct there would require us to head on a 320 heading. Somewhere to the right there, around 3 o'clock. But that would make us go straight into the shield of what do you call this place again, Mauna Loa. So instead we're looping around bit by bit, a lot slower, but I'm happy enough taking the scenic route. So I'll keep on this and I'll bring you guys back again when we are over on the other side. Yeah, that's a good one. See you on the other side. Aha, there we are. Finally seeing the other side of the island. We are now nearing the west coast of the island. More or less 4,000 feet. And you can see with the VOR track still we are 35 miles away based on the DME. 35 miles, but the course is properly where we are headed. Yeah, to head there, 330. That should be close enough. You should see the airport if we head straight from here. And yes, the gigantic Mauna Loa is still here on our right. Look at that steady slope. That's a new thing for me. I'm not sure if you guys know that before. Shield volcano. First time I heard that description of a volcano. Pretty cool. There is actually a waypoint there as well. I think you can only unlock that when you reach the top though in Bushtalk Radio. That will automatically play when you go near there. But since we have limited performance capabilities in this plane, in our payload, so we'll stay here in this altitude and instead I can actually play that manually. Mauna Loa. So let me play that. It's going to be 2 minutes. Enjoy the trivia, guys. Enjoy the trivia.
Mauna Loa is one of 5 volcanoes that form the island of Hawaii in the U.S. state of Hawaii in the Pacific Ocean. The largest subaerial volcano in both mass and volume, Mauna Loa has historically been considered the largest volcano on Earth, dwarfed only by Tamu Massif. It is an active shield volcano with relatively gentle slopes, with a volume estimated at approximately 18,000 cubic miles, although its peak is about 125 feet lower than that of its neighbor, Mauna Kea. Lava eruptions from Mauna Loa are silica poor and very fluid, and they tend to be non-explosive. Mauna Loa has probably been erupting for at least 700,000 years, and may have emerged above sea level about 400,000 years ago. The oldest known dated rocks are not older than 200,000 years. The volcano's magma comes from the Hawaii hotspot, which has been responsible for the creation of the Hawaiian island chain over tens of millions of years. The slow drift of the Pacific plate will eventually carry Mauna Loa away from the hotspot within 500,000 to 1 million years from now, at which point it will become extinct. Mauna Loa's most recent eruption occurred from March 24th to April 15th, 1984. No recent eruptions of the volcano have caused fatalities, but eruptions in 1926 and 1950 destroyed villages, and the city of Hilo is partly built on lava flows from the late 19th century. Because of the potential hazards it poses to population centers, Mauna Loa is part of the Decade Volcanoes program, which encourages studies of the world's most dangerous volcanoes. Mauna Loa has been monitored intensively by the Hawaiian Volcano Observatory since 1912. Observations of the atmosphere are undertaken at the Mauna Loa Observatory and of the sun at the Mauna Loa Solar Observatory, both located near the mountain summit. Hawaii Volcanoes National Park covers the summit and the southeastern flank of the volcano, and also incorporates Kilauea, a separate volcano.
Cool. Now that was interesting trivia. I love it. Thank you, Wikipedia. Thank you, Bushtalk Radio. Yeah, the info from that is coming from Wikipedia, but it's the Bushtalk Radio system that's enabling that kind of synchronization. That's cool though, right? Flying through here and actually getting some more tidbits of information aside from appreciating the views and getting hammered by these updrafts. You guys have been probably feeling the same as I have. Yeah, it's pretty strong over in this part, so it looks like it would be interesting to see the wind flows, huh? Because on the other side of this volcano, we didn't really get any of these winds. Now, getting some very powerful ones. Cool. What else can we play? I think we're good there because the other ones are pretty far in the north. We'll probably explore that in a later episode. So if we look at the VOR, that points directly around 11 o'clock. That might be the airport right there in front. So I'll continue on this heading. Looks like we are in a very good shape here. This is the western coast of the big island. Looks good. We'll keep it up. I'll bring you guys back when we are near the airport. That looks beautiful. I think that's Mauna Kea right there, the other volcano. Mauna Loa was the one at the back. That one is, I think, actually higher, and there's an observatory at the top, and I think it's a dormant volcano. But let's go and play the footage from it, the audio. Also, a little bit of status update. 11 miles from the VOR. The airport, I think, is right there, that white spot in the vicinity. So let's play this, and then let's prepare for our landing. Mauna Kea, 3 minutes. Might have to stop that in the middle, but we'll see.
Mauna Kea is a dormant volcano on the island of Hawaii. Its peak is 4,207.3 meters above sea level, making it the highest point in the state of Hawaii.
Wow.
Most of the volcano is underwater, and when measured from its underwater base, Mauna Kea is the tallest mountain in the world, measuring 10,211 meters in height. Mauna Kea is about 1 million years old, and has thus passed the most active shield stage of life hundreds of thousands of years ago. In its current post-shield state, its lava is more viscous, resulting in a steeper profile. Late volcanism has also given it a much rougher appearance than its neighboring volcanoes due to construction of cinder cones, decentralization of its rift zones, glaciation on its peak, and weathering by the prevailing trade winds. Mauna Kea last erupted 6,000 to 4,000 years ago and is now considered dormant. The peak is about 38 meters higher than Mauna Loa, its more massive neighbor. In Hawaiian religion, the peaks of the island of Hawaii are sacred. An ancient law allowed only high-ranking alii to visit its peak. Ancient Hawaiians living on the slopes of Mauna Kea relied on its extensive forests for food, and quarried the dense volcano-glacial basalts on its flanks for tool production. When Europeans arrived in the late 18th century, settlers introduced cattle, sheep and game animals, many of which became feral and began to damage the volcano's ecological balance. Mauna Kea can be ecologically divided into 3 sections: an alpine climate at its summit, a Sephora chrysophylla myoporum samuacense forest on its flanks, and an Acacia coa metrosideros polymorpha forest, now mostly cleared by the former sugar industry.
Good luck understanding that.
In recent years, concern over the vulnerability of the native species has led to court cases that have forced the Hawaii Department of Land and Natural Resources to eradicate all feral species on the volcano. With its high elevation, dry environment, and stable airflow, Mauna Kea summit is one of the best sites in the world for astronomical observation. Since the creation of an access road in 1964, 13 telescopes funded by 11 countries have been constructed at the summit. The Mauna Kea observatories are used for scientific research across the electromagnetic spectrum and comprise the largest such facility in the world. Their construction on a landscape considered sacred by native Hawaiians continues to be a topic of debate to this day.
Wow, that was pretty insightful. Some pretty interesting trivia there, and some trivia that went above and beyond my cognitive abilities. But we'll take it. Now the challenge, guys, is to look for the airport, because it should be right in front of us, but how the heck am I not? Okay, see the tower. There it is. Okay, apparently it's not the white thing that I was pointing at, because this is the white thing that I was pointing at. Apparently this is the town, but the airport itself is kind of under a cloud cover, under the shadow of the cloud there. It's a bit darker. Cool, okay, but yeah, we can make that work. So if I just go straight through, that's the VOR, but there's also an ILS here. Runway 17 is something that we can tune into. ILS for runway 17. The frequency will be 109.7 with a course of 174. Okay, 109.7. So if you tune that in, 109.7. Love the sounds. There we go, 4 miles away. That's perfect. And you can see we are actually on the left of it, which makes sense. So let's adjust that so that we're on a 174 course, so it won't be confusing. There you go. That should be good enough. And we have the airport in sight, we have the tower in sight, looking good. Weather is still perfect as ever with a few winds. We have a little bit of crosswind coming from the left here. Winds are coming from 132 degrees from the southeast. But we should be fine there, we should make it through. Let's turn on the landing lights here before we get penalized by OnAir, because we are going to start descending pretty soon. And pitot heat is still on. I turned that on some time ago when we were climbing through clouds. Not by intention. But yes, I'll turn that on later. I turn that off later as we land, but here we are. Okay, good. So we can join the downwind for runway 17 here. This should be a good estimate of where we should be going. Wow. It's so frightening to imagine living next to not one, not two, but I don't know how many, 4 volcanoes. Sounds like a pretty scary living condition, but my goodness. Wow. Wow is the term. I'm not sure if I have other words for it. Alright, there we go. Look how slow we are, guys. 100 knots. Because we're super heavy, I imagine. That's why we're so slow. Normally, I would be buzzing through here at around 120 knots. Even with these kinds of settings. Manifold pressure, RPM, and all that stuff. But we are getting pretty close. Now the downwind leg for runway 17. So from here, we should be able to... You know what? I can delay it a bit. Because we are pretty slow already. I can even deploy full flaps now if I wanted. Okay, there we are. Looks pretty calm there. Doesn't look like there's much activity today. Oh good, I'll take that. Let's admire the view before we focus on the landing. That's Mauna Kea, I think. Probably. Maybe one of these days we'll get a TBM, fly on above it, should have no trouble. Or maybe we'll wait for the turbo version of this arrow and then we'll climb higher like that, even on a full payload. Right, landing gears going down. Three greens. I like how even the sequence of the greens, the green lights, they don't appear all at the same time. One notch of flaps going up, mixture going to full, propeller going to full. That should be good enough there. Okay, let's turn base here. Keep the airport in sight. There it is. Starting to descend 500 feet per minute. That's looking pretty good. Loving the sounds here. Let's turn on the fuel pump as well. Oh, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful view. There we are, descending just right. Overshot it a little, that's fine. Can correct. There we go. 2 whites, 2 reds. Can keep the space. Now we can also deploy full flaps here. Forward pressure on the yoke to counteract the tendency to pitch up when you put down your flaps like so. And now we're in a full landing configuration. Looking good. Yes, indeed, the winds are coming from the right. You can see me crabbing a bit to the left here. Sorry, winds coming from the left rather. But very gentle, so I don't have much of an excuse to scrap this landing. Hopefully we make this ride. We will see. are pretty fast here. 75 knots on the approach ideally. There we are. Okay, let's keep that. There we go. Pulling back on the throttle fully. And now we're coasting along. There we go. Did I just bounce? I might have. Oh, super heavy. Super heavy. Really feel the weight. Even the center of gravity, because we have so much cargo at the back. The tendency of the plane is to look at how much it pitches up. If I just lift, if I pull up on the yoke a bit, I can actually pull up my nose because the center of gravity is all the way there at the back. Interesting. Okay, getting to exit here. Not my best landing, but I'll take it. We'll continue learning with this payload difference. It really feels different and I like that. It's not just a number. Weight is not just a number. Quotes to live by. Fuel pump can go off because it's noisy. Flaps going up. Let's turn off here. Hope you guys enjoyed that flight. Looking forward to more traveling here in Hawaii. Plenty more to explore. So look forward to more stuff coming in the OnAir series. Loving it. Absolutely loving it. Now where do we park? Somewhere on the right, I guess. Let's turn off from here. Man, love the view here though, huh? Overlooking that huge volcano up ahead. And since it's dormant now, it shouldn't be as scary anymore. I love the taxiing here though. The taxiing feel of this plane really feels solid. And if you want to taxi faster, you actually have to apply a little bit of aileron deflection as well. Otherwise you get blown off by the winds. If the winds are strong enough. Very nice. Now, no plane whatsoever, not a single one. I think everyone vacated the place because of me. The Clumsy is landing. Save yourselves. Here we are. But thanks for joining me on this flight, guys. As I mentioned, feel free to join the Clumsy Airlines VA. If you're on OnAir, if you're not, get a subscription. Join us. Join the fun. Ah, beautiful sounds. Goodness, I love that. Okay, let's turn off the strobes. They call it anti-collision lights, but I think those are basically strobes. If that's the one. Turn off our avionics here. Love fiddling with these buttons and the sounds they make. Good. Oh, good. No. Keep that on because we'll turn off the engine first. Beautiful. Everybody, get out. We're good to go. Cool. Turn off the magnetos and turn off the, not that one, beacons and batteries. Awesome stuff, guys. 1 hour, 4 minutes, one landing. I'll take that. Had lots of fun. Hope you guys did too. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next episode and let me know what you think. Improvements, suggestions are more than welcome. Oh, look at that lighting. Beautiful. Thanks for watching Clumsy Flying and catch you in the next one, guys. Bye-bye.